What if the very structure that's defined our work, our ambitions, and our daily lives for centuries what if it's starting to crumble? Today, we're diving into a really profound shift, a move from being a passenger guided by these huge institutions to finally taking the driver's seat of your own life. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's a new reality, and it's powered by a whole new kind of intelligence.
It really all kicks off with this one big idea. The old pyramid of power is cracking. For generations, this is how society has been built, right? A few people at the top and pretty much everyone else at the bottom. But just look at this image. You can see the foundation is shaking. The cracks are showing. And what's rising from those cracks? Well, that's the dawn of the individual.
So let's actually take a closer look at this pyramid. What is it really? Think of it as this invisible architecture of control that shaped our society forever. It's the reason most of us have spent our lives down at the base, looking up, feeling like the real decisions are being made somewhere way above us.
At the very top of this pyramid, that's where you find the traditional architects of our world, governments, massive corporations, and all those legacy institutions. For decades, they've been the gatekeepers. They controlled the flow of information, they dictated the terms of every opportunity, and they shaped the very rhythm of our days. They didn't just set the rules, they owned the entire game.
And down here at the base, well, that's where most of us have been living. It's the single parent juggling two jobs, the artist just trying to get a breakthrough, the small business owner who feels like they're drowning in paperwork. It's the recent grad looking at a totally uncertain future, or retirees just hoping for a little security. I mean, does any of that sound familiar?
And if you boil it all down, the feeling of living at the base comes down to this one simple, frustrating thing. You spend your life reacting to the world instead of directing your own path. You're constantly just responding to emails, to deadlines, to other people's demands. It feels like you're always one step behind, never really in the driver's seat. But what if that could finally change?
Okay, so like we said, that old pyramid is fracturing, and the force causing these cracks, it isn't some political movement or an economic collapse. It's a new kind of tool. It's a new form of leverage, built specifically for the individual. We're talking, of course, about artificial intelligence.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. Think about other tech revolutions, the industrial age, even the early internet. A lot of the time, they actually concentrated power, right? They created new billionaires and even taller pyramids. But AI, as it exists right now in 2026, is fundamentally different. It doesn't consolidate power, it distributes it. It doesn't just benefit the top, it empowers the individual. It's not about making new gatekeepers, it's about creating personal sovereignty.
And let's be super clear about this. This isn't some science fiction fantasy set in the far-off future. This capability, this incredible shift in power, is happening right now. The tools are here and they're accessible today.
So how do you actually use this power? Well, the key is to stop thinking of AI as just some clever chatbot and start seeing it for what it is, your own personal digital workforce, a tireless ally that works for you 24/7.
So what does that actually look like in real life? Okay, imagine waking up not to an alarm, but to a quick notification that your personal AI agent already reviewed your finances and found a way to save you money on interest payments while you were sleeping. Or picture this. You've got this brilliant idea for a little tool for your business. Instead of having to find and pay a developer, you just describe it in plain English, and the AI builds a working version for you. Or what if you want to learn a new skill? You'd have a personal tutor that adapts perfectly and patiently to your unique way of learning. This isn't a dream. This is what's possible right now.
This incredible concept, just being able to describe what you want, is called vibe coding. And it basically marks the end of needing to be some kind of tech genius to create things. You just state your vision, your vibe, and an AI, maybe using something like Black Box AI, can translate that into reality. The barrier between your imagination and a working solution, it's pretty much gone. Your ideas are now the only limit.
This brings us to a really important distinction. Old AI was kind of like a recipe book. You had to give it super precise step-by-step instructions just to get a very specific result. But the new agentic AI, that's like having a professional chef in your kitchen. You can just say, hey, I want a healthy, affordable meal for tonight, and it figures out the whole plan, it checks what you have in the fridge, and it gets to work. See the difference? It doesn't just answer your questions, it takes action for you.
And all of this brings us to the most important part of all. I mean, understanding this is one thing, but taking action is where your whole world changes. Your sovereignty, your actual ability to direct your own life, it starts the very moment you shift from just reacting to actively building.
So what's the ultimate goal here? It's about reclaiming your most valuable and often your most scarce assets. First, you reclaim your time. By automating all those mundane tasks that just drain your energy, you get hours back for your family, your passions, your health. Second, you reclaim your income by building independent streams of revenue that an AI can actually help you create and manage. And when you have your time and your income back, you finally achieve the most precious asset of all, genuine freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your days.
So all of this leads to one single, really important question. It's an invitation, and it's directly for you. Are you ready to stop reacting and finally start building the life that you actually want?
Because here's the bottom line, the core takeaway from all of this. The future isn't something that just happens to you anymore. It is something you now have the power to actively build, with AI as your tireless, loyal ally.
The old pyramid is fracturing, and a new era of individual power is here. This is your moment. So in our next explainer, we're going to move from theory to practice. We'll demystify AI even more and give you your very first sovereign blueprint, a practical, actionable guide to get you started on this journey. Join us then, and let's start building.